you. I read yours too. We were going through a teacher strike the same time you guys were in Tiverton. Finally settled it.
And well, Don Hawthorne also made it.
And Don, yes. Oh, yes. No, I know Don very well. Yeah.
I mainly had one question. One of my concerns with Commissioner Gist is that I appreciate what she's doing, and I think it's important that she's what she's doing. But I'm concerned about allocating more responsibility and power statewide rather than school committee level as far as the driving force for change. And I wondered if, as a candidate with an emphasis on education and a school committee member, what your thoughts might be on who ultimately has authority on matters of education.
Well, I think it does rest with the cities and towns. I think that the overall structure is at the Board of Ed, but I haven't seen where she's trying to take that away, unless it's one of these failing schools. Is that what you mean? Like,
well, there's that.
Because it really should be the local community. School committees have local care and control, and that's granted to them. And I think that school committees can do that. I mean, I think that if they have a failing school, they can get support from the state, but they should be able to do it on their own. I think the issue with Center Falls would have just completely shut down, and that's why it had to go under state control. I would not like to see a complete state control of the schools. I think you do need the local control, partially from what I said about balancing the needs of the kids with the needs of the taxpayers, because you can't have it completely off kilter. You have to carefully balance the two. If it's put into a statewide system, I think that the local taxpayer loses control of that. So I haven't seen a lot where she has advocated for that.
No, she's not, but by the nature of the authority that she's exerting is necessary, but it has that threat.
I'll tell you why it's necessary, because a lot of the things that are in the BEP right now that the region's just passed, they are basically like the thing about you can't bump anymore, you can't replace just based on seniority. They're put in place, but it's up to the local districts to implement it. So they're giving us the tools. There's case law as well as what they put in the BEP. They're giving school districts and school committees the tools. We just have to implement them. We also have to educate other school committees, and we do this with the School Committee Association, and we have a regional group that gets together with shared services to say, hey, look, this is in the BEP. This goes into effect. So the bumping thing goes into effect July 1. So if you've got a contract that's expiring prior to that, you cannot institute these job fairs. I mean, according to the BEP, you have to place based on an evaluation qualification. So we can use the framework that they've done to make it happen at the local level. I'd like to see more communication between them, between the Board of Ed and the school committees, and we're working on that, because I think Mr. McWalters was not as engaged with the school committees, and we have seen, the School Committee Association, our executive board has had 3 meetings with her already. So she's actually saying, look, this is what we're trying to do. We met with Dave Abbott, who's the legal counsel, and this is what we're trying to do. And if you want to try to do this in your district, this is what you do. So they're giving us the tools, we just need to do it.
Well, what about something like, I know the Rhode Island Statewide Coalition is currently working to get the 25% minimum co-share in the contracts.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Directed the state down.
I absolutely think that. I think that school districts should try to do it on their own. There's several districts. We're at 16%. We're on track to get to 20. Not too many districts are 20 right now. There's some districts that are 5. That absolutely has to be resolved. Think how much money that local school is going to save if you've got a 20% share. Now, I think that there should be a cutoff, perhaps, for paraprofessionals and people that only make $18,000 a year. But just like they do at the state level, there's a graduated co-share. But yes, in fact, our administrators all pay 20%. For us, it won't be that big of a leap because we're working there anyway. But that legislation demanding the 25% would certainly help. What we don't want is to have to go on with the state health insurance, because their insurance is about $18,000 a year for a family plan. We're paying $13,000. So, thank you, but we're doing okay on our own. So.
Just a light question. You and Ken are running as a ticket, you said, which is an idea I think is a good one. What happens if
the executive branch?
What happens if you win and he doesn't?
Well, that's not a possibility I'm willing to accept.
That's kind of what I expected you to say.
But and that's true. But if the governor is going to be for a fiscally responsible government and focus on the economy and education, I am going to work with the governor to make it happen.
And what if the governor is not?
If they're not focused on that's going to make it more difficult. I will continue to focus on it. But if the governor does not want education reform or economic reform, it's going to make it harder because that's what I'm passionate about. I believe that we will get that. I think that the next governor will be a reform-minded governor.
Well, would you take it as a point of using your office to be in contention to a governor who's not following that? Or?
No, because I think that there's certain things that need to get communicated back and forth, and I think that we saw in the last several years that that's not been happening. In order to move ahead, people have to talk to each other, and if that, no matter who it is, if that's not happening, then it's not going anywhere. It could be that we'll find some more fiscally conservative people in the Senate or the House. There are some, believe it or not. They just need more voice. And I would take up that and try to work with the General Assembly. It's hard work. It really is, because it's about communicating. It's about trying to get everybody on the same page and making sure that they understand how their decisions affect the average guy, and not just how the lobbyists think of it. I don't know if that's a good answer, but that's what I believe.
That's fine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you want to talk to Chris for a couple of minutes?
I didn't really have any questions for Chris. Yeah, I guess.
All right. Thank you so much.
It was nice to meet you both.